Something must have happened with that woman I saw leaving. I muse over it as I watch Everly leave. She seems upset. Turning back to Valerian and little Casey, it seems like both are in a mood.
Papa, can you get us a drink?
Valerian asks, and I smile. He looks so much like Valen when he was Valerian's age. His big amber eyes looking back at me remind me of his father, though Valen has grown out of his dimples. Of course, what would you like? I ask.
Banana milkshake.
Casey squeals, and I smile before looking at Valerian, though I have a funny feeling I know what he'll ask for, especially if he is indeed like his father.
Vanilla, please.
I nod, happy I'm right, before looking around for the servers. Not seeing any, I look at the bar, which only has a small line. Okay, wait here. I will be right back. I'm just going over there. I point out the bar, which is only a couple of feet away, before stepping through the playground safety gate. I am excited for the day I planned out to distract the kids. It kind of reminds me of when I used to take Valen out. Every Sunday was our day. Every Sunday was an adventure when he was a small boy, always hunting for unknown places to take him. I place the kids' milkshake orders and add on some subs to take with us too, before turning to look back at them. I wave to them, then freeze. They're gone. 2 minutes, if that. I had turned around for only a few moments, and they just disappeared. Racing back to the playground, I search the tunnels, climb into the cubby holes at the top, and check the slides. They're gone. My stomach drops, my heart racing like a drum at the thought of losing them. Hey, the kids who were in here, did you see where they went? I ask, grabbing a security guard's arm. He looks behind me at the playground and shrugs. I didn't see any kids, Alpha Kalen. I want all hotel security looking for a boy and girl. The girl is in a pink dress with, what is the name? I try to think of the name of that show she likes, the one Valen complained about. Trolls! It's a pink Trolls dress. The boy is in a light blue button-up shirt and navy slacks. The guard starts rattling off their descriptions across his radio before turning to me. Their names? Casey and Valerian, I tell him. Scanning the wine gardens for any trace of them. How could I lose them? And why would they leave? And whose kids are they? My grandkids. Just fucking find them, I snap, darting off and yanking my phone from my pocket. My hands shake as I punch in the numbers. I have to dial my son's number again, missing a couple of numbers the first time in my haste as I run through the lobby looking for any sign of them. I manage to dial the correct numbers a few seconds later, still walking as fast as I can and scanning the place while I wait for my son to answer. What's up? My stomach sinks at the thought of what I'm about to tell him. I feel sick, like I'm about to throw up. He and Everly will never trust me again. My heart thuds painfully against my ribs, so hard I'm certain I'm at risk of a heart attack. Do these kids not realize I'm old? I can't get a fright like this. I lost them. I lost the kids. What do you mean you lost them? Valen snaps, his voice slightly hysterical. They were right there. Then I went to get them a milkshake, and when I turned around again, they were gone. I panic, racing through the restaurants and bars looking for them. They couldn't have gone far. I'm on my way, Valen replies. Okay, I'll call Everly, I tell him, dreading that call. No, let's see if we can find them first. They couldn't have left the hotel, Valen says, hanging up. I have every member of available staff looking for them, the entirety of our security personnel searching, and even a few police have shown up to help me search the damn place when a call comes over the radio. Found them. They were in the kitchens hiding, a chef calls over the radio. The immense relief I feel as I make my way to their location cannot be explained. Pulling my phone out, I call my son back to let him know, and he tells me he's nearly here. No doubt to scold the kids for hiding on me. Walking into the kitchens, I find both kids sitting on milk crates, the chef standing over them with his arms folded, not looking impressed. I caught them tampering with the mayor's wife's food, the chef tells me, and I put my hand on my hips. Well, haven't you two been up to mischief? I asked them.
She was mean to my mom.
Valerian huffs, and I tilt my head. Who was?
That lady with the curly hair and pig's nose,
Valerian says, before getting up and walking to the double doors. He points out a table and my brows raise. Alpha Nixon's wife, a nasty woman. What did she do? I ask him.
said we weren't welcome in here. Called us riffraff,
Valerian says, and I growl. You should not have run off like that. You should have told me. Your father is distraught and on his way here, I tell him, and he drops his head. The chef watches as I turn to look at him. You didn't serve her the spoiled food. No, caught him just in time, sir. I nod. Very well. I'll take it to her and make these two apologize, I tell him. He nods, handing me a tray that has escargot and a bowl of soup on it. I give the children a scolding look before noticing a snail in Casey's hand and chuckle. Were you going to put live ones in her food? I laugh, shaking my head.
She's the one who wants to eat slugs.
Valerian pouts before glaring out the doors at the woman. I glance around and notice the chef is busy cooking at the back, and no one else is paying attention. I saw nothing, I whisper to the kids, placing the tray down and turning my back on it.
Huh?
I saw nothing, I repeat to Valerian, nodding toward the snails in Casey's hands. She pulls more from her pocket. How many did this kid stow away? Valerian giggles and a waitress notices. I nod silently to her. She glances at the table number on the tray, looks out the door, then presses her lips in a line as she snickers.
I saw nothing either,
She says, sending me a wink. Grabbing the tray, I see the snails have been replaced and one is even swimming around in her soup.
Allow me,
The server says, and I glance at her name tag. Thank you, Stacy, I tell her, handing it to her. She nods, smiling at the two mischief makers behind me who are giggling before taking the tray out and setting it in front of Alpha Nixon's wife. She nods and thanks Stacy, while we watch from the kitchens when Valen busts through the doors. Relief is clear on his face, and the kids duck behind me, peering up at him from under my arms. Valen lets out a breath. You two have some explaining to do, he scolds, before being cut off by the shrill screams coming from the restaurant. I try not to laugh as I watch the woman spit her food out and jump back from the table. Valen turns, looking out at the commotion, while the woman is shrieking and waving waiters over her. The kids are laughing behind me, and I erupt and join them. My son looks at me before folding his arms across his chest. What did you do to the mayor's wife? I saw nothing, I tell him, and he looks at the children.
Papa said we could.
Valerian snitches, and I look away. Well, I thought it was quite funny. I stand by what I said. I saw nothing. Valen sighs.
I hope she chokes,
Casey says, pursing her lips and squinting her little eyes at the woman. And why is that? Valen asks her.
She was mean to Mom.
Valerian pouts with teary eyes. Seems the woman doesn't like rogues in your hotel, son, I tell him. Well, we can't have that, can we? Valen says, holding his hand out to my grandson. Let's introduce you both then, shall we? If only I had the balls all those years ago to have Valerie on my arm and by my side, I think guiltily. I won't allow my son to make my mistakes.
But, Dad, she's the mayor's wife.
The child protests. And this city is owned by me and Pop. We elected her husband as mayor, and I can easily remove his status, Valen tells him.
Good. Then I want to be the mayor,
Valerian says, and I chuckle. Aim higher, my boy. No name holds more power than Solace in this city, I tell him, and he looks up at me with a sparkle in his eyes. Oh, he will be a terrific alpha one day.
Somehow we managed to lose one of the cheese platters for one of the tables, and the 3 snack platters. I'd called Valen, who said he would sort it out and bring some from his restaurant. Now that mini heart attack is sorted, I slide my handbag over my shoulder and finally walk to my office. I just finished stuffing the letters and keys in the safe before my office door opens and Kalen walks in. He flops into a chair, apparently exhausted, although dressed to impress in his suit. He looks every part the alpha he should, while I look like a staff member. Not that I own pretty formal dresses, or would even wear them. I prefer organizing the events, not being a part of them. "Where's Valerian?" I ask him.
Just dropped him and Casey with Zoe. Valen is taking the platters you needed to the kitchen,
He says, looking rather frazzled. "Is everything okay?" I ask, wondering why he's hunted me down, though people have arrived early. However, the function doesn't officially start for another hour. Grabbing the box with the name labels on them for the tables, I tuck it under my arm.
Oh, we're moving again.
Kalen chuckles, reaching for the box under my arm. He takes it from me, following me out of my office. "Is there a reason you came searching for me?" I ask him. Kalen clears his throat, and I can tell he's nervous about something. After he tells me the long, harrowing story about losing the kids and about the snails, I chuckle.
You're not upset?
Kalen asks, and I shake my head. Nope. I lost Valerian for an hour when he was 2. He wandered out of the apartment. I found him in the daycare. The scariest hour of my life. I was frantic. These things happen, I tell him, walking back toward the restaurant, just as I spot my father at the end of the corridor. He's wearing a tailored gray suit, talking to someone with his back to us.
I also need to speak to you about Valen,
Kalen says before stopping and looking at me when he realizes I stopped. He follows my gaze to where my father is talking to someone, then looks at me before glancing at the door beside me. A second later, I find myself stuffed into a storage room where we keep linens.
Kalen?
I hear my father call out, but luckily, I'm already obscured inside the dark room. Kalen looks at me and stuffs the box in my arms, shutting the door, but not completely.
Alpha John, lovely to see you again,
Kalen says. I hear my father growl at him.
What the fuck is this shit I heard from Alpha Nixon's wife saying your son was marrying another?
My father snarls angrily.
Our deal still stands, Alpha John. Not if your son doesn't marry my fucking daughter. We had a deal.
My father snarls, and I cover my mouth with my hand, trying to muffle any noises. Unfortunately, I somehow managed to bump a shelf and knock something off it. I quickly dart behind the door.
What was that?
My father asks, and the door is suddenly shoved open.
I must have bumped something. I was looking for a bathroom and wandered into a linen closet,
Kalen says, his back coming into view as he opens the door, blocking me from my father as he peers in.
Fucking reeks of rogue in here. Why, of all places, your son would hold it here is beyond me. Did you know this place is apparently owned by a rogue whore? Alpha Nixon's wife told me.
My father says. The door shuts again, but once again, Kalen leaves it slightly ajar, and I look between the gap.
Fucking ironic that the place he holds this meeting is at his own mother's hotel. Though how it ended up out of your hands, I don't know. Must have pissed your dear old maid off for her to give it to some random whore.
Kalen growls at him.
Mind your tone, John. Valerie may be dead, but I won't listen to you talk shit about her.
My father scoffs.
Coming from a man who tossed her aside, I'll say what I like.
My father breathes.
Your son better announce my daughter as his future mate, Kalen, or I will tell Valen about Valerie. We had a fucking deal. I assure you, my son will take your daughter as his mate.
Kalen reassures him, and my father growls.
He fucking better, Kalen, or your little secret is out.
My father says, stalking off down the hall. I hear Kalen sigh and wait a few minutes before I hear his voice.
Coast is clear, Everly. You don't need to hide.
Kalen says, and I pull open the door. He turns to me with a grim smile on his face. That's what my father has over you? Why, you were so quick to accept me? I ask him.
That is not the only reason, Everly. I made mistakes, ones I refuse to allow my son to repeat. As much as I loved Valerie, I was too worried about my reputation. When I lost her, I realized what I'd done. I punished not only her, but I also punished myself.
Kaylin admits. So, if Valen doesn't marry Ava, my father will tell him about Valerie? Kaylin shakes his head.
The deal was Valen has to marry his daughter. He never stated which one.
I cluck my tongue. I can't believe this is happening right now. Nevertheless, I don't understand why Kaylin is talking to my father after years of rivalry. Why does he want my sister to marry Valen? It makes no sense.
Honestly, dear, I have no idea. I've tried to figure it out myself. When he confronted me about Valerie, I panicked and agreed. Valerie, I already lost. I couldn't bear the thought of losing my son, too.
Kaylin says. I nod. Just the thought of Valerie brings tears to my eyes. Anything else to this deal you made? I ask, wanting to know what I'm up against.
Yes, Valen has to mark and mate her within the week of the Alpha meeting.
Kaylin tells me, and I curse under my breath. Wait, when you say mate, do you mean to force the heat? I ask him, and Kaylin nods, looking away guiltily.
He wants to make sure his daughter is with child. He was planning on injecting Ava with the hormones to ensure she got pregnant.
I do not plan on having another baby anytime soon, so no forced heat. I will let him mark me, though.
Thank you, Everly.
I shake my head and hold my finger up, telling him to wait. I can't carry this secret, Kaylin. I can't. You must know how heavy it is yourself. I look at him, and all I see is her, I say. My lip quivers as I think of Valerie, who she was to me, who she could have been to Valen. I will let him mark me, but you will tell your son. I have a week to let him mark me. You have a week to tell him. I will not go into this with lies that can unravel us. You want me to be with your son? Then tell him. Don't make me have to. I tell him before walking off. Making my way to the restaurant, I hand the name cards to one of the waitresses, who quickly races around, placing them out following the seating arrangements. Valen emerges from the kitchen with a garment bag slung over his shoulder and smiles when he sees me. He's dressed in a black suit, looking handsome like always. Valerian is also dressed in a suit and is playing with Casey and some other children that have arrived early. Valen comes up behind me and nestles his face into my neck, which earns curious stares when his hand goes to my hip to tug me back against him.
You're not wearing that,
he growls, looking down at my uniform. And I am not wearing that, if it's a dress, I tell him as he drapes the bag over my arm.
Oh, well, good thing it's not. I know you don't wear dresses because I have yet to see you in one, although you will have to wear a dress eventually.
And why is that, Alphanovel? I ask.
Because usually only the groom wears a suit to a wedding, so for one day you'll have to suck it up and wear a dress.
I like how you assume I'll marry you. What if I want to keep my name?
We can hyphenate it.
He chuckles, kissing my jaw while I pull a face at the thought. Fine, Solace it is. I laugh.
Good choice, because I wasn't changing mine to Valen Summers,
he says, and I swat his arm with my hand.
Go get changed,
he says, giving me a nudge toward the rear doors that lead to the back where my apartment is. I sigh, taking the garment bag and heading for my apartment. I quickly change into the white pantsuit he brought before running the brush through my hair and tying it up. Looking in the mirror, I purse my lips. Something's missing. Walking into Zoe's room, I rummage through her makeup bag and borrow some of her cosmetics. I do a rush job of my makeup, knowing people will already be arriving, and I still have to place a few things out on the tables and check the seating arrangements again. The last thing we need is for rival alphas and outside alphas being seated together. Looking in the mirror one last time, I can't help but feel like an imposter. I suck in a sharp breath and take a moment to pause, trying to find the courage to go out there and face not only my father, but all those alphas who are here for the announcement. After today, everything will change. I will no longer be Everly the rogue, but Luna Everly. And that thought scares me as much as it excites me. How I had changed over the years, going from scared teenager to terrified but determined mother, having nothing to becoming a hotel owner, and now changing once more to Luna. Our village is growing larger, and that responsibility hangs heavily over me. Valerie's voice comes to mind. Her saying whenever the health and safety people would mock our attempts to get this place running. Mike is the worst. Zoe blackmailed him into helping fix the wiring in the place. He walks around and checks the place out, then bursts out laughing in our faces. He finds it hilarious.
I'm not wasting my time. You'll never get this place up and running.
He mocks with a shake of his head. Valerie refuses to hear it. She steps forward, and I see the fear in his eyes. Hers hold none. The woman is fearless. Micah takes a frightened step back at the look she gives him. He dares not challenge her. There's something with the way she carries herself. She doesn't fear pack wolves. No, Valerie is her own pack, and she let us be a part of it. She protects us, and this is home. True alphas preserve their home, and those that live in it. She's our alpha. Micah visibly gulps when she gets up close, and sneers as she looks him up and down. Micah challenged her, and she loves the challenge. She says only 2 words as she snatches the tool from his hand. 2 words that will always stick with me. Watch me. Without another word, she turns on her heel and walks to the power box, shuts the power off, and undoes the screws holding the cover over the exposed wires. I shake my head at the memory and smile to myself. It kind of became our mantra, fueled by everyone trying to knock us back. The day before we got the official notice and were told we could open our doors, we sat in the restaurant admiring our handiwork. The place looked fantastic. We were sipping our beers, covered in paint and goddess knows what else. Valerie was leaning against the counter, watching us. She always watched us. She always let us know how proud she was of what we had accomplished. We actually did it, she says, and we nod. All of us are exhausted, yet our spirits are high. You'll never do it. That's what I'll tell you girls from now on. She laughs. Watch us, we say collectively with a laugh. That's my girls, and they will watch, and you will show them what us rogues are made of. She says proudly. It has become our mantra. I've fallen behind in my night classes, trying to juggle kids, work, and school, and I just feel so defeated. Valerie wanders over to me, cigarette between her lips, where I sit, sulking, looking at my failed test. My bag's between my feet. I foolishly opened the letter right before I was supposed to leave for class. I sigh and rest my head against the brick wall, feeling like I let her down. What are you looking at? She asks. My stupid test. I failed. I grumble. Let me look, she says, snatching the paper from my hands. She peers at it and sighs. Might as well throw in the towel. You'll never do it. She clicks her tongue, and I squint my eyes at her. One corner of her lips tugs upward very slightly. Should probably quit this place, too. Barely made a dent. Place looks like crap, she says, motioning around to all the work we slaved our asses off doing all day. She drags back on her smoke and raises an eyebrow at me. I purse my lips, and she smiles. She crumples up the paper and tosses it into the bin, and I snatch my bag up off the ground. Watch me, I say, using those words I heard her say many times over. The challenge is on. She smirks. Oh, I am, she laughs. 2 little words, but they always put a fire in my belly. So with that, I head to the restaurant. Valerie handed this place to Valerian and me. This is my home. And now I'm not only fighting to keep it running, but I'm also fighting for the rogues. Our village built from nothing. So there's nothing my father can say or do that can touch me. We beat the odds. We built an empire. And I won't let one alpha intimidate me. If Valerie taught me anything, it was to know my worth. And the only one who gets to determine that worth is me. Not my father, not my mate, not those who try to suppress me. I no longer have to prove anything to anyone, because I proved it to myself. And there's no feeling more empowering than knowing your own worth. Reaching the rear doors to the hotel proper, I'm instantly bombarded by a flurry of organized chaos, as those brought in to help cater scramble with last-minute alterations and tasks. Making my way to the doors to the restaurant, I walk in halfway through the opening speeches, clipboard in hand. I look over the guest list before walking to the back to check if the chefs need help in the kitchen. The place is already packed, and Kaylin is addressing those that attended. I've been to plenty of these growing up, and I know Valen plans to make the announcement at the end of the night. A few hours in, everyone is mingling peacefully, the alphas wandering amongst each other to form small groups and chat. Looking over at Valen's table, he nods to the chair beside him, but I shake my head. I still haven't seen my father, and I'm waiting for it. Kaylin, I know, wants to keep things civil as long as possible, so I keep my distance, biding my time. But when a commotion happens toward the back of the room, I recognize my father's voice instantly.
You fucking idiot. You spilled it all over me.
He yells, standing up. I tilt my head to the side to see Valen stand and look in his direction, along with a bunch of other alphas. My server fumbles, trying to clean up the mess. Zoe is already quickly approaching, trying to help, with Marcus lingering in the background. Difficult patrons are something we deal with regularly. This is nothing, and an easy fix for her.
Do you have any idea how expensive this suit is?
My father growls at one of our waitresses, Sarah, who looks terrified. Zoe places her hand on Sarah's shoulder. "May I know what the issue is, Alpha?" she says, a polite determination in her voice.
Yes, this idiot spilled wine on my shirt.
He grunts, red-faced and flustered. "Accidents happen, Alpha. I'm sure we can organize dry cleaning, or possibly a fresh shirt," Zoe answers quickly, while tidying up the table. My father sneers, and Zoe nods for Sarah to go. She rushes off, coming toward me. "You okay?" I ask her, touching her arm as she escapes the scene, looking rather shaken. "Fucking prick! He bumped my arm as I was pouring," she says. I nod to the kitchen, and she sighs with relief while I lean against the frame. I chuckle when I see Macy a few tables away, watching Zoe. She looks to be on standby, ready to crack the alpha with a bottle if need be. She knows who he is, so does Zoe, and not once does she stutter. She's speaking professionally and is doing her job, while my father rants about lowly rogues. We've heard it all, and it no longer phases us. There isn't a name he could come up with that we haven't heard at least once or twice before. "As I said, sir, we can have it dry cleaned or replaced for you," Zoe repeats sweetly.
I want her fired. I want to speak to the manager,
he demands. "You are speaking with one, Alpha," Zoe tells him before waving Macy over. I'll give my father one thing. He knows how to cause a scene, as everyone is watching with eager eyes. Marcus looks like he's about to drag Zoe away from the threat. Oblivious at the back, the kids are playing and stuffing their tiny faces with snacks. "This is Macy, another manager here," Zoe says, introducing them. Macy starts with polite words, ever the professional. Well, that is, until he starts ranting at her and making a fool of himself. I notice Ava shrink in her seat, clearly embarrassed by our father's behavior. Those at the other tables whisper amongst themselves. The woman from Valen's hotel is also seated at my father's table, agreeing and nodding to everything he says. "Sir, if you don't calm down, I'm going to have to escort you from the premises," Macy tells him, and she would, if needed. She has a bat behind the counter, and she isn't afraid to use it. She's already done it many times. Though this is slightly different from the everyday usuals we deal with. This is a room full of alphas. That won't stop her.
Escort me? Who the hell do you think you are? I want to speak to the owner,
my father demands. Zoe looks over at me, and I nod to her. She turns back to my father. "She's on her way, Alpha," I hear Zoe say as I swallow and make my way through the tables. Valen looks like he's about to come with me, but I motion with my hand to stay where he is. I don't need him behind me. I can fight my own battles, and this is my hotel, my workers, and he's my father. My father sits down while he waits, arms folded across his chest. Macy and Zoe step away, and I take their place. "Is there a problem, Alpha?" I ask. My father looks me up and down, before his eyes dart to those seated at his table, mouth opening and closing like a fish. My mother just stares unblinkingly at me, while my father stumbles for words. Ava, however, snickers before covering her mouth, trying to stifle her laughter.
Yes, I want to speak to the owner,
my father finally says, with a wave to dismiss me, clearly over his shock at seeing me. Even while I'm standing here in a room full of alphas, he'll still try to deny knowing me. That's fine. They're about to find out. "You're looking at her," I tell him, motioning to myself. If seeing me hadn't shocked him, then finding out I'm the owner definitely does.
"But you're a rogue whore,"
he sneers. "No, I am rogue. That word will not be tolerated in my hotel, Alpha. Or should I say father?" I ask, smiling down at him.